All right, thank you very much. France won the Davis Cup for the 10th time as Lucas Pouille beat Belgium's Steve Dutchies in a deciding final match. The hosts began Sunday's final 2-1 up in the best-of-5 tie, but David Goffin leveled for Belgium by beating Joe-Fred Tsonga 7-6, 6-3, 6-2. World number 18 Pouille claimed victory for his country with an emphatic 6-3, 6-1, 6-love win over an opponent ranked 76th in the world. France's first title since 2001 was celebrated widely by the 27,000 crowd at the Père Marois Stadium in Lille. France had raced 3 finals since their previous Davis Cup success, and losing in 2002, 2010 and 2014. The Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) plans to help as many fans as possible to cheer the Super Eagles in Russia during the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Followers of the senior national team have been worried by the unresolved leadership crisis in the Nigerian Football Supporters Club, which made it impossible for the fans to travel with the team in most of the away games during the qualifying series. Now the NFF wants to ensure that the Super Eagles do not lack support at the World Cup, and I started talking with some sponsors to help many Nigerians be in Russia during the World Cup. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola said his side competed amazingly as they fought back from 1-0 down to win at Huddersfield. The league leaders equaled a club record set in 2015 by securing an 11th successive Premier League victory despite falling behind through a Nicolas Otamendi own goal. Sergio Aguero's penalty early in the second half drew City level, and Raheem Sterling struck the winner with only 6 minutes to go. This was the first time City have come from behind at half-time to win a Premier League away match since April 1995. Victory also meant that City re-established an 8-point lead over second-place Manchester United. Elsewhere, Alexis Sanchez kept his cool to convert a penalty in a second-half stoppage time to hand Arsenal a 1-0 victory over Burnley at Turf Moor. Arsenal won both their league games against Burnley last season thanks to injury time winners, and they did so again after James Tarkowski was penalised for a push on Aaron Ramsey, and Everton were condemned to another heavy defeat by Southampton, losing 4-1 at St Mary's. All right, I've got a sport journalist, Sayo Owolabi, with me in the studio this morning. Hello, Sayo. How are you?
Mayowa, good morning.
All right, great to have you back. Let's begin with the biggest game of them all at the weekend. Liverpool and Chelsea cancelled each other out. Yeah. I'm not sure that point was good enough for either side.
Yeah, definitely, considering the fact that everyone's chasing Manchester City. But then, I think it will be more of a point end for Chelsea. For Chelsea? Considering the fact that Liverpool almost had the upper hand in that game. And they were coasting away with the victory before that Willian goal, which he claims is a shot. But at the end of the day, draw not good for both sides. But we'll say it's better than losing that game, and they're still in there with a chance. 3 points behind second place Manchester United for Chelsea, and I think 11 points behind the leaders. Huge gap, but they can always make up for it.
The debate has been on, was the Willian goal a cross or a shot?
That's exactly what I said.
Antonio Conte said
the man, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's about
what
the goal.
Is to score.
But the man at the center of it all said he took a shot. So let's give him that benefit of doubt. Whatever it is, he got the equalizer for his side, and that's what counts at the moment.
But I'm not sure that was a shot.
Of course, everyone saw that. It looks like a cross.
But really, what has that result done to Chelsea's title aspirations now? 11 points, you mentioned there, 11 points behind City as we speak.
Well,
That's a huge gap.
It's huge. It's huge, but then we can still say it's early days in the season. There'll be lots of games in December, let's not forget. And whatever happens, it's not down to Chelsea. It's down to Chelsea to get the results, but the truth is it's in the hands of City to actually throw this away. The only person or the only team close to them is United, and the only chance United stands is that Manchester derby. If United falters in that Manchester derby, then we can as well just hand the title to Manchester City already. And as it is, Chelsea, like I said, they stand a chance. They can only do well to get their own results and expect that City will falter, which no one sees at the moment.
All right, let's talk about Manchester United then, shall we? They just about stay within touching distance of Manchester City with a spineless display against Brighton.
What will be the definition of spineless? There are 3 points in the bag. And, you know, it's like, for me, my analysis of United is it's a team on a rise. because when we look at what the team has gone through in the last 4 or 5 years, especially since Sir Alex Ferguson left, games like that are games United get to draw, because the opponent will always just find a way to equalize in those games. But they managed to get that game, and they probably wouldn't have even scored. But they managed to get that goal from the deflection of Ashley Young's shot, and they didn't concede in that game. That's a positive to take away from that game. Spineless maybe from the performance of the players, and I think I've said that, I've overflogged that issue on this, on this show. It's down to the players. The players are not giving a good shift, and there's nothing the manager can do about that. He can only expect that.
You can see Jose Mourinho there talking to the manager, telling him perhaps they didn't deserve to lose. He said that after the game. The better side lost the game. Very humble
Jose Mourinho. But yes, they really didn't deserve to lose. That's talking about Brighton. But then it's almost like the case of Huddersfield, though the statistics show otherwise. I saw the possession in the City Huddersfield game, 79-21. So who should win? Definitely City. The same for Manchester United. Maybe Brighton didn't deserve to lose, but at the end of the day, it's always down to an individual brilliance, and that's what Ashley Young brought to the table in that game.
That defender must really be gutted with himself with the own goal. He now somehow contrived to score an own goal, against his side with the 2 Manchester clubs. He also scored an goal against Manchester City.
A bit of a negative record no player wants to have, but it's quite interesting.
Okay, but I can't quite put my head around this. Why are United struggling, really? Is it down to lack of enough creativity, inconsistent players, or perhaps the team setup?
A combination of the first two.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with the team setup.
Okay.
We were analyzing, and you were talking about Perisic being added to the side would have been huge, would have made a huge difference. You have a striker who is a box striker, and you need to deliver and supply him. But that's not happening. We've seen
Martial
Lukaku,
and Rashford
are not putting in enough crosses. And the truth is, the same thing that has happened to Mkhitaryan, who had to be benched in the last 2-3 games, is the same thing that probably should happen to those two guys.
But the problem is, who do you bring on if you bench
We had
guys?
wingers who we converted to wing backs.
Okay.
Ashley Young and Valencia. Let's check the statistics. Those are the same guys who actually get to deliver the crosses in most of the games. We even saw in the last game, it was Pogba who did a brilliant cross for Martial himself to convert. So what are we saying? Those are guys who probably need to be brought back to the front. We have guys, the United have guys on the bench. Talking about Badali Blind, maybe a Damian. Yes, they may not be the best shift in those positions, but if you need to get goals and you're not getting it, and you have players on the field and on the bench who can actually shuffle the roles and deliver the goodies, then that would count for something. And we've seen it. Pogba came back, and there was a huge difference in the team play. Ibra comes in and is giving a good shift. You saw the combination between himself and Pogba, which almost resulted in a goal. That's what is needed in that team. And if the young chaps are not giving it, then they really need to go to the bench and relearn what they've learned before now.
I'm sure it might be a busy January transfer window for Jose Mourinho as well, with Carlos Sola being mentioned in the frame, and another winger to come in perhaps. Maybe all this will be solved. But it's going to be another tough 2 weeks for them. You've got Watford and Arsenal away in the league, a CSK Moscow at home in the Champions League, and then Manchester City at home in the league. The league could be over by then.
That's the tipping point. The final game, which is that City game, in this lineup you just read out. Watford, we've seen their brilliance. Saw them in that game at the weekend. 3-0 away from home.
At Newcastle.
We can say it's Newcastle, but for God's sake, it's almost a team of the same shape with them. And for them to run away with that kind of performance. And I think they've been racking up this kind of results over the last few weeks, and they're just building quietly. The coach has brought something different to the side, and that would count for something in that game for United going into that particular game. Arsenal would definitely be difficult. We know how Arsenal turns up against Manchester United. It's almost like they're going to play Real Madrid or Barcelona. Champions League, I think that's in the bag. 5-0 can't happen against CSK Moscow. So, and we know that's what is needed for Manchester United not to qualify for the next round. So that's in the bag. So really it's about the Premier League games. And if they don't get the necessary results before that game against City, and City are doing the bit of the job elsewhere, then the Manchester derby may just be the tipping point where City runs away with the title.
Okay, Mauricio Pochettino seemed to have given up on the title after seeing his side held at Wembley by West Brom.
Too early. I'll say too early. It's December would shape things up.
About 12, 13 points behind City at the moment.
It's huge, but it's still something they can catch up with. That's just 4 games, and we know what can happen. December will shape things, and like I said, by the end of December, we'll know who actually is in the title race and who's not. Okay,
talking about City, it must really be frustrating for the chasing pack now. How do you catch them? Huddersfield came very close yesterday, but still fell short.
Yeah, and then you begin to ask, does everything pack the bus? Because the truth is, not everyone even has the personnel to do such. 1, 2, even with the state of the defense yesterday, and I said it, even when Huddersfield throws the ball forward, there's not one man up front to even cause problems for Otamendi or for Vincent Kompany. So it means everybody was back. They still managed to crack them open. If they didn't crack them open, that penalty for the first goal wouldn't have happened. And that's exactly what we saw. Passes were still falling behind the line. Some offside, some not converted, some not well taken by the players whom they were supplied to. So the brilliance in that team is phenomenal, and I'm sure Pep Guardiola is on cloud 9, seeing his side and seeing the guys on the bench and thinking to himself, really, who can stop us? But then, fingers crossed, it's down to them.
And luck also on their side as well. Let me ask you this. The top 4 race is going to be very tough. It seems it's a sure banker for the 2 Manchester clubs and perhaps Chelsea. And we might see a bit of a scramble for the last spot between Arsenal, Tottenham and Liverpool.
Expectedly. And expectedly, and if we were to base it on Arsenal's performance, especially against Tottenham, then I can say they can be back in the top 4. But we know it's not one game that will shape things. So Liverpool also has a bit of a shout in there, and they stand a better chance if I were to put the 3 of them on a pedestal.
Well, we should mention Everton's inability to appoint a new manager is a bit of a problem for them. Yesterday, 4-1 again, they lost.
What would the new manager be bringing to the table? The only worrying thing is how much has been spent and how the money is not turning to results.
No manager even wants to come in at the moment. And that's the kind of shape they are in.
It's a terrible shape, because the manager coming in will be thinking to himself, I need to spend, and they will be telling him, we have spent money. Do something with these guys. It's a bit of a different divide for the management and the manager coming in.
All right, and for Arsenal fans, your team won again yesterday, courtesy of a late Alexis Sanchez penalty, 1-0, just like it was last season in the Premier League. A deja vu for them. All right, thank you very much indeed, Sayo.
Always a pleasure being here, Mayowa.